Good morning, everyone. Thank you again for joining this satsang, the topic for which is what choice do we have? Like I was mentioning, I'm quite excited for this topic. I don't know for what reason. I'm usually not. Like it's usually like, okay, this class needs preparation or this class needs this thinking. But with this, I was just feeling, okay, this is something I've not done before. So it's nice to try something out new, I guess, for my own sake. But even Yogananda ji said, it's nice to try something new every day, or try to do something new every day. I forget his exact words. I should probably look it up. But anyways, I had a reading in mind. So how about we tune into this reading and we'll go right into the topic. This reading is from Awaken to Superconsciousness, which was written by again Swami Kriyananda ji. And here it is. There are many occasions when compassion and leniency are sterling virtues. In the contest with your lower nature, however, they are the ultimate ploy of delusion. Be kind to me, delusion cries. Have you no heart? The Bhagavad Gita tells us, resist that false soft tenderness which saps the youthful vigor of the soul. The entire scripture is set on a battlefield to underscore the true nature of the struggle for enlightenment. Once your inner army has been assembled for its assault in full earnest on the city of God, remember, it isn't God you're battling, God is on your side. Deep devotional meditation on Him will give you the strength and wisdom you need to win the war. In the Mahabharata, the long epic from which the Bhagavad Gita is excerpted, Sri Krishna offers an alternative to the protagonists in a war, Arjuna and Duryodhana. Choose, Krishna says, between me on one side and my army on the other. If your choice is me, I will be with you in battle, but I will take no personal part in the struggle. If your choice is my army, you will have a vast force fighting on your side, but you will not have me. Arjuna, given the first choice, replies, I choose thee, Lord. For where thou art, there alone is victory. Duryodhana, on the other hand, is delighted to get the support of Krishna's entire army. It is Arjuna, of course, who wins the war. Okay, so I think with that reading, we could have probably just summed up the satsang, chanted 3 Oms, and finished with a healing prayer. Because once we choose Krishna, it's done deal. We are all set. And but let's still go into this topic a little more deeper, perhaps, or a little more further in whatever way we can, because we can pick this up from many different perspectives. So, what choice do we have? So, who is this we in this? I was wondering. Just like, what is this we? Like, is this you and me? Is this God and gurus? Like, which we are we talking about? In fact, let me share with you a joke, which I hope will have a lesson in it. Also, this was in 2017. We had a big public program for Jyotish and Devi ji, and this was like I said, in Coimbatore in 2017. And it was on a Saturday evening, the program had happened. And for some reason, on Sunday morning, we had a Kriya initiation. So by the time the program was over, we were just completely tired. We had to do the pack up, and the Kriya initiation was happening in a different location altogether. And somehow I was in charge of coordinating the details of the event, where goes what and what time what happens and like who does what kind of thing. And such a big event usually requires a lot of coordination. So after the Saturday evening program got over, obviously, just imagine you having a long day and you come back home. The first thing you want is to go to bed and just, rest yourself so that the next morning you can get going with whatever you want to. But again, if the first thing in the next day is a big program, you need to prepare for it a little bit. So I kind of summoned my brother monks. I said, we have a big event tomorrow. Let's get going. Let's prepare for it right now so that we don't feel unprepared in the morning tomorrow. So I said, and for those of you who have attended the initiation, you know it, but those of you who haven't, there are some details involved where you need preparation, like where are the flowers going, where does the altar go, and especially if it's not at a meditation center, what happens is basically that you have to make the whole place a barren room into a temple and fill it with your vibrations, which is like, you set the picture of all the gurus, you set the picture, you set the flowers, you set the candles, you set the chairs, you see how people walk in, how people walk out without giving too much away from the ceremony. That's how much I can share with you. But then it involved a lot of work, and I had a detailed list of what all needs to be done, a proper checklist, you might say. So we were like, I think 3 4 monks, and I said, so who's doing this? And a brother monk of mine said, oh, we will do it, we will do it. I said, okay, fine. And then I said, who's doing this, point number 2? He said, we will do it, we will do it. I said, okay. Who's doing point number 3? Who's arranging the chairs? We will do it, we will do it. And I was like, wait a second, this is getting a bit too off. Who is this we are talking about? I like to be like, I like to nail down who's this we. I'm just very particular about things. So who is this we are talking about? And he said, oh, I meant we meaning Vineet being my name. He said, we means Vineet, so you will do it, basically everything. And I was like, wait, that's not the deal, that's not how this works. And he was of course joking. And so who is this we, and what choice do we have? And for that, I actually want to give you another 2 readings, and then we'll discuss a little further on that. They're short readings, and this is from The New Path by Swami Kriyananda, where he shares about his time with Paramhans Yogananda in a lot of aspects of his life. So this is one from the chapter Work versus Meditation. Mrs. Michelle, that lady I initiated into Kriya Yoga, which is Swamiji who initiated into Kriya Yoga in San Diego, told me, I used to drink, not much, but the way most people do, to be sociable. When I met Master, he told me to give it up. So for a while, I took nothing alcoholic at all. But then I got to thinking, surely beer doesn't count, does it? Or wine? I mean, they aren't really in the same class with whiskey, rum, and brandy, are they? So I went back to drinking beer or wine occasionally. It gave me less explaining to do when we had guests. Well, the next time I saw Master at San Diego Church, he looked at me sort of penetratingly and said, I meant all alcoholic beverages. Well, Mrs. Ivan said, since then, what choice have I got? At any time I slipped, he would know about it. And then one more. This is from the chapter First Days of a Neophyte, and this is just 2 lines basically. Master once scolded Reverend Stanley, the minister at SRF Lake Shrine. But please, sir, Stanley pleaded, you will forgive me, won't you? Well, Master replied, astonished, what else can I do? And that's where the story ends. Well, what else can he do? So when we talk about this we, not the Vineet we, but W-E, we, at least I'm thinking it's us and the masters. Like, what choice do we have really, like the lady over here and all of us, we don't have a choice in some ways, our final ultimate destiny is to find God, be one with God, and, be one with the infinite consciousness. On the other hand, if we feel that we are stuck, oh my God, I'm stuck in this all over again. Well, what choice does Master has? He doesn't have a choice either. Like, will you forgive me? You will forgive me, won't you? What else can I do? What else can I do? And that's really the essence of it, because sometimes we think that, oh, we are stuck somewhere, but God and gurus are as much stuck as we are. And the only thing they are looking from us is our heart's love, our devotion. And it's very important to note that, I think sometimes in life, because we can just think that, we don't have a choice in the matter, or sometimes we get very philosophical, which is very true. Like the word choice, if we were to go into, we discuss the word we. Now let's go into the word, I might say, choice, because it's a huge word, it's a heavy word. And how did this whole thing come about? Do we even have a choice in any matter whatsoever? And like again, people think about how much free will do I have, and what can I do and what can I not do. And Swamiji said, I mean, the karma, it's so determined that it's decided what color of tie you're going to wear, and you wonder, oh my God, what color of tie I'm going to wear. It's so predetermined. But again, there is this thing about not over philosophizing these things. At least for me, when it comes thinking about free will or choices, I'm just like, there are two simple choices in my life, really. In every given act, is this act going to take me towards God or away from God? And if I kind of stick to that, it makes my life pretty simple, really, to be very honest, because we can look at this grand scheme of things and we can get bogged down by it. Or we can just say, in every minute to minute, over here, what can I do? What choice do I have? How can I, tune into God and gurus? And again, just to take a step back, I wanted to share, like, how did I even end up thinking of this is, and I'm sharing this for a very particular reason. Many of you might be aware there was a satsang with Jyotishan Devi ji on Friday, and this was on Friday evening, and now we are Sunday morning. So I was just wondering, we are having a satsang with Jyotish and Devi ji. Do we really need a satsang on Sunday morning? You had the cream of creams. We don't need anything. So I wrote to Bara and Shamini, and I was like, do you guys really need me to help with that satsang? Like you guys have got, Jyotish and Devi. There's no need for me to help anymore. And they were kind of essentially like, no, but we would still like to have something. I said, okay, fine. And I was thinking, oh, I already made this commitment. Well, what choice do I have? And that's where I was like, okay, what choice do we have? Was the topic. But then the word commitment comes to my mind, and God is committed to us as much as, well, it doesn't matter actually. It doesn't matter how much we are committed to God. He is committed to us entirely and absolutely. The question is, how much do we want to commit ourselves to God? And it is a minute to minute affair. It's not about like, oh, this much, like again, Jyotish and Devi ji shared on Friday evening, the minutes are more important than the years. So like in this situation, what am I going to do? Am I going to think of God and gurus? Am I going to think of just a distraction where I'm going to just let my mind wander off? In fact, I love this analogy because I've been tuning into it lately. It's been hard to, it's when we say just God, it becomes hard to tune into God. But how about tuning into God in the form of one of the 8 aspects of God, like tune into God in the form of joy? Can I tune into God in the form of joy at this moment? Can I tune into God in the form of calmness or peace or love? There must be something which we can tune into outwardly or inwardly in some form or the other. And as I was mentioning in the very beginning, I was thrilled by this topic. So I've been thinking about this over the last 2 3 days. And recently I was driving to what do you call an eye doctor? Well, I was driving to an eye doctor, basically to have some regular eye checkup. And while I was driving, the car broke down. It started making some really funny noises, and the noises started increasing and increasing more and more and more, to a point that fumes started coming out of the car. And I've never had a opportunity where fumes started coming out of the car. And I was like, oh my God, I better park the car on the side. And I parked the car. But this topic came into my mind. Well, what choice do I have over here? Well, I can be cranky and unhappy that the car broke down and how could it break down, and I have this commitment and appointment. Or I can just be joyful and happy in the moment and say, fine, not a problem. I'll just enjoy the sun. It's winter, but the sun is out. So it's good. And something very interesting happened when I tuned into this joyful energy within. So but before that, just see in your life, are there moments where you get like, oh, I lose my cool, or there's an opportunity to lose my cool? Just ask yourself, do I have a choice? And the answer is usually yes, not outwardly, but inwardly it is. But coming back to the story, because I was happening to be in a joyful mood over here, I was with a brother monk of mine, and I said, maybe we should call the car agency and see if they can have someone tow our car, because you can't drive the car anymore. So we have to tow the car and take it back to the service center. We were standing, we ended up contacting the car towing, I mean, not the company towing the car, but the service company. And they said, we have to look for someone to tow. We don't provide the service, but give us some time. We will get back to you. We just don't know who can help you with this, but we'll get back to you. We were like, okay, fine. And here we are, still fumes coming, or at least the car is stopped, so fumes not coming. The car is on the side of the road. You're just standing there on not in the middle, but on the side of the road, you might say. And it's hard to be joyful when suddenly you're doing things and pop, things break out. And we waited 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. It's taking an awfully long time for them just to tell if they can send us a towing car or not, a pickup truck or not. So I said, well, I can do it myself in this joyful attitude. I can do it myself, and I'll look for some numbers and I'll see who can come and pick us up. So I called some numbers and one person said, hey, I'm happy to help you. And I said, okay. So I asked a brother monk of mine, shall I call this person? He's happy to come. He said, no, 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 no. Let's wait for that service company because we have to ultimately get the car serviced from them. I said, okay, fine. We waited for another 5 minutes, and it was very coincidental. They sent me a number and it was the exact same number I spoke to the person with. And I was like, that is so interesting. When you're joyful, when you're in your spine, you're in tune with more things that than you might be when you're grumpy and reactive, and God knows how many other moods there exist on the planet. And something like this, Swami Kriyananda ji went through. He was driving the car once and it was raining heavily, and he had to go get to somewhere and he couldn't see for a long distance, so he had to kind of maintain a certain speed and he couldn't speeden up the car, and it was kind of getting him agitated. And he said, wait a minute, now I don't have control over what's happening on the outside, but I do have control on what's happening on the inside. And the moment he did that, and if I'm right, this is the song he tuned into. At that very moment, he came up with this song. There's joy in the heavens, a smile on the mountains, and so on it goes. And melody sings everywhere. So, anyways, I think it was this song, but he came up with a very beautiful song. And he said that, at that moment, he was while driving, he was writing the song, making sure, just hoping that no cop saw him and caught him writing music while he was driving in the middle of a heavy rain. So, circumstances are neutral, but we always have a choice in the matter. And that is where the thing is. The neutrality is only to the extent you leave it to be neutral. And then from there, you can either make it go positive or it can go in the other side, which I won't name what is the opposite of positive. So take note of the minutes, I would say. Take every note. Can I be joyful in this moment? Can I be peaceful in this moment? And maybe in your day-to-day life, as you're going about, have some moments where you can just bring yourself back to the center. It can be every 1 hour. Swami Kriyananda ji said that when he was in Mount Washington with his guru, every hour or so, he would just take a minute or so just to recenter himself and just, with his busy activities, what he was doing. So even throughout your day, you can just bring yourself back to your center, and that could happen in any form you like to. You can do a chant, you could go for a stroll, you could just sit quietly for a minute, and you can set your phone off to go on an alarm. I used to do this when I used to work in the corporate world. My job was essentially a desk job with 1,000 Excel sheets and God knows how many rows that existed. Just analyzing data and things which accountants are used to doing. I would just set an alarm every half an hour or 1 hour. And as soon as the alarm would go off or vibrate my phone, I would just stop everything and just see, okay, God is the doer here. I'm doing it with God and Guru. And the next time someone came to attack you, you didn't do your good job, or this is wrong, or that is off, you're like, no, God is the doer. It's hard to keep, that consciousness that God is the doer if we don't constantly bring ourselves back to that inner center. At least for me, personally, that is the case. It might be different for you, but do whatever that works for you and bring it back. Now, sometimes, and this is again something I loved about the satsang which we had on Friday with Jyotish and Devi. This is a point which I want to reiterate, which is, which I think Barakiel pointed out. It might be hard sometimes to say, no, I want God, I want God alone. Or as we were chanting, let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you, and God alone is all we ever need. But there are times in life when God alone is not I ever need. I need other things. I need coffee sometimes. I need ice cream sometimes. I need to sleep sometimes. Or there are even other desires. Probably I don't have to go into them, but what do we do in them? Well, one thing we could do is involve God in them also. If it's your job, involve God in your job. If it's eating ice cream, just don't gulp the ice cream. Invite God into, like, here, I'm offering this food to you. I'm just, sharing this with you. And if, that is also not possible, just say, like Jyotishi was saying and Barakiel was saying, I want only thee. Even if we can't say, I want only thee, I want only thee. And for me personally, it can get even worse sometimes if I get too off. Instead of two wants, there can be three wants. I want only thee. But it's okay. Be honest with yourself, but have that, because we, on one stage or the other, we do have that desire. All of us as souls, we have that desire to want God. It's just that sometimes the outer life takes over and it becomes hard to feel that desire always. But if you take a moment at any point, you will see that that desire is there, that joy is there, that yearning is there. So flame that yearning, and you will see that the choice to look towards God is always there in one way or the other. And just talking about that Friday satsang, I would encourage all of you to watch the recording of that. If, I'm sure it will be available at some point. It had a lot of good points, and you can kind of tune into it, because even though it's not directly related to this topic of what choice do we have, but it does bring us to a fact of how can we always make the conscious choice. It was on, how do we dedicate our lives to God, basically. So it is that choice which we're trying to make as devotees. And again, going back to that reading of Krishna and Arjuna and Duryodhana, because Duryodhana might have seen it very clearly how stupid Arjuna was to find God, to choose Krishna over there. You have a choice between, 1,000 million, soldiers and, elephants and horses, whatever, however they used to fight wars. And on the other hand, you have this one person, Krishna. How are you going to win this war? It is so silly. Given the first choice, he should have chosen, according to Duryodhana, he should have chosen the army. But that is how life is also. When challenges come, the tendency is to say, oh my God, no, I have to pay attention to whatever it is, my finances or my job or my family, which is all good. I'm not trying to say it's not important to look into that, but it can take priority, and we can say meditation can happen later, chanting can happen later, practicing the presence of God can happen later, satsang can happen later, seva can happen later. Well, that later, how later can it go? Swami Kriyananda ji used to say that it can take days of Brahma. Now, one Brahma is like quite a few years already, and days of Brahma, do we want to waste so much time? And well, eventually we are going to get there. Like I said, we don't have a choice in some ways. We do have a choice in the sense that we can say, okay, fine, I'm tired with this God business. It's getting too much. This God gurus, like, okay, I'm done with this guru business, God business. I'm just, I'm all about me. I can do it on my own. But eventually we are going to turn towards it. And for a serious devotee, he's just going to think, what is the alternative? What is the alternative? Death itself, really. And I'm remembering now the story of Peter and Jesus would come up with these things to test his devotees, to see how much they were really in tune with him. And he would throw out statements like, eat my flesh and drink my blood. And the Bible says many followed him no more after that, basically. And Peter says, this must, or someone said, I think over there, this must be a hard teaching, like eat my flesh and drink my blood. Of course, from Master's teachings, we know that it has a much more subtler meaning about tuning into the consciousness of Christ. But Jesus asked Peter, are you also going to leave me when everyone else was leaving? Are you also going to leave me? And Peter was like, this is it. What choice do I have? This is, even though it doesn't make sense over here, I know this is what my life is. What choice do I have? So if meditation becomes difficult, if life becomes difficult, if whatever becomes difficult, I don't know. Life has Maya is very, very skillful, you might say. It's very tricky. But what choice do we have? But also, what choice does Master have? Not much. He is stuck with us as much as we are stuck with him, but he's stuck with us for a good reason. He loves us. He wants to be one with us. So it is not out of compulsion. He just wants our love. And for that, he's always ready to offer his love to us. There is a student of, there was a student of Paramhans Yogananda whom Swami Kriyananda said, go and like basically whenever he comes, teach him the techniques and all that, basically. And so Swami Kriyananda ji would make an appointment with him and the person would not show up. It happened once. Okay, fine, no problem. You did not show up. He came again. He again made an appointment with him to come learn the techniques or learn the teachings, whatever. He did not come again. But anytime he would meet with master, this devotee or student or disciple, I don't know exactly if he was a devotee or a disciple, but anyways, he would just be all love with master. He'd be like, oh, master this and master that. And Swamiji thought at one point he was just being insincere in front of Yogananda. He was just being, all this, but when it came to learning the teachings, he's not showing up. He's insincere. So finally, he made an appointment with him again, anyways, because master told him to. And he did not show up. And then when Swamiji got to know about this, like that this person was again going to come and meet master, and because Swami Kriyananda ji used to spend a lot of time with Paramhans Yogananda physically, he told this to Yogananda, and Yogananda ji said, oh, we'll have some fun today. And so when this person came, walked in, and master was again just all love to him, just giving him all his love, giving him all his energy, all his time, not even saying, why did you not show up? What happened to you? Or I don't know, why did you not pick up my call, as it happens these days? Even in relationships, we expect such a kind of thing. Why did you not pick up my call? Why did you not reply to my message? Nothing of that, just love, just love. And then master basically, I'm going to just share the essence of it. I don't know, I don't remember the exact words, but uh, he just basically looked at Swamiji and he would say how dry, basically how dry to it would be if, or the life of the devotees would be if master was to behave that way to all the devotees, because everyone makes mistakes. You make mistakes, I make mistakes, every devotee, unless, I mean, let's face it, we are not in samadhi. That means we are bound to make some mistakes one way or the other. The fact that we came on this planet is because we messed up somewhere, somehow. And we are here to just fix things up by making the right choices now. So he said basically, like, why be dry? If master was the same way to everyone in Mount Washington or his disciples, they would feel no joy. If he was like, you didn't meditate today, you have to meditate 1 hour 30 minutes. Why did you meditate just 1 hour and 25 minutes today? You missed 5 whole minutes. What's wrong with you? I mean, you can be as perfectionist as you want to be, but that's not how a master sees things. So it's not out of compulsion that he's like, oh no, I don't have a choice, I have to, like, this guy, he's gone case, but I have to help him. It's not out of that. It's just like, I love him and he loves each one of us equally. Reminds me of another story where there was this wise old man and he used to ask advice. Oh, we are out of time. I got too excited with this topic. Sorry. This will be the last topic, a last sharing, and then we can end basically. So when basically there was this wise man and there was this young man, and this young man was very, very just in awe of this wise man. And he was like, you seem to be getting it all right in your life. You just, everything is, there's so much wisdom in everything that you do. And how do you do that? How are you able to make it that, you know exactly what to do? And he said, well, you have to make the right choices in life. Once you make the right choices, you just get there, you know it then. And then he said, but how do you know what are the right choices in life? Well, you get it by experience. Experience is what teaches you how to make the right choices in life. Said, okay, okay. How do you get experience? The young man asks. And the wise old man says, well, by making the wrong choices, you get experience. So basically, well, at least in our case, we have God and gurus. We don't have to make too many wrong choices. We can always ask for their guidance and love and support. But again, take the minutes into account and every situation, instead of just looking like, oh my God, what choice do I have in life? In every situation, when something hits at you, what can I do over here? What is God trying to do over here? And maybe it'll help you navigate through life in a more smoother way, in attunement with God and gurus. And one day we'll not only be able to say, I want only thee, Lord, or I want to want only thee, but we might be able to say, I am one with thee, Lord. Thank you, everyone. God bless you.